In this video, we're going to build two workbenches or work tables. Both of them are going to be built the same way, except one's going to have more storage. This one, for example, has leveling feet, and it was designed to be an outfeed table for my table saw. So, it's going to be smooth and level and flat. That's what you need. The other one, though, and this work table is designed to be storage heavy. So we have clamp storage, open storage, drawer storage, and it can take a lot of weight. So let's get right into it. So first things first, we're going to get our studs that are 8 feet long. We're going to rip them down so they have a nice clean edge. Studs generally are rounded over a little bit, and we want our surface to be flat. For our work table top, I will be using 3/4 sandy ply. I bought it at Home Depot and they cut it right down the middle for me. Then I attached the workshop table top to the studs using glue and clamps. The key point here is to not add a lot of pressure to your clamps because you're referencing your clean cut from your stud. Then using a Forstner bit and a cabinet screw, I attached the top to the apron. Apron are what the studs are going to be called. Using the stud, I made a line to reference later so I know where to screw in my screws. You can also use brad nails if you like, but I feel like brad nails don't secure the tabletop as well. Since I had 2 tables to make, I went ahead and screwed them in right away, but ideally you would wait until the glue is cured at least an hour. Next, we're going to get our measurement for the rest of our aprons and our stretchers. Aprons are just the 2x4s that will go at the ends, which it is very important to take those specific measurements as 2x4s tend to cup and bow and twist and all that. If you need to come back and trim off a little bit of the excess, then do so because you really want these to fit just snug. I then repeat the process for the aprons, adding glue and then clamping them down. The middle 2x4s are going to be called stretchers, and those will all need their specific measurements. Then using the same process of the Forstner bits and the screws, I attach them. I'm not driving them in there, I'm just letting them sit. Depending on how structurally sound you want your table to be, I went 16 inches on center for each of my stretchers, but you could do more or less depending on what you want to do with your table. Since it's easier for me to work on this table with it lifted off my other table, which is actually a kitchen table, I lifted it using just scrap 2x4s I had laying around. Once I was ready to attach the stretcher to the aprons, I used these 3-inch cabinet screws, making sure that they're flush so I don't snag on anything. This next part is the most important to make sure everything's flat. So I got the longest level that I had and I check every spot. Then I went on to attach my legs, just using glue and screws. If you're using the same 3-inch cabinet screws like I did, make sure you attach them lengthwise and not widthwise because then you get this little screw sticking out. Now generally a table only has 4 legs, and as you can tell, this table can take my full body weight. However, for leveling, I prefer 6 legs as that way gives me more points of contact since my floor is very uneven. For the clamp storage, all I did was grab a scrap 2x4 and screw it into place in the event that I want to change it to somewhere else. This plywood is already sanded. However, since I didn't want any odd little bumps, I made sure I sanded at 120 grit and then hand sanded at 220 grit. Then I cleaned it all up using a towel and it was ready for finish. I like using paste wax for any outfeed support or anything that's going to get a lot of glue ups because it prevents things from sticking to it. And it's super cheap and easy to reapply. If you wanted to stop there, you can. However, like I said, I prefer tables with 6 legs, so here is the next table with 6 legs. As you can tell, it supports the weight more and it's going to help with leveling. Now let's talk about storage. For your storage, you could use other plywood, you could use MDF, you could use particle board. Basically, you just want a solid platform for you to put heavy things on. If you don't want storage, you could just put 2x4s as stretchers and call it a day. By the way, these aprons I'm attaching at the bottom, it's just clamps and glue. For leveling feet, I got these off of Amazon, but they come with little bitty screws and I prefer a little more length. So I got the screws that they came with, and I'm only going to attach those at the bottom, and I'm going to attach 1¼ inch cabinet screws to the top. Now to make sure everything is level, I'm going to use a workpiece that's flat to run it atop the table saw and the outfeed table. That way I know it's not going to catch on anything ever. I'm going to go about a 1/64 to a 1/32 of an inch lower than my table saw. The nice thing about these leveling feet is you get to adjust them from the top and not from the bottom. If you're a beginner woodworker, this is where the video is going to end for you. Unless you want to learn how to make cabinets and also have storage like drawers and open storage. And this is where I began to make my cabinets. Since this piece was too long for my table saw, I decided to do rough breakdowns with a circular saw. If you don't have a track saw, which I'll show later, just use a circular saw and a straight edge. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and use the tools I have, so that's what I did. The cabinet is going to fit inside of that opening between the aprons at the bottom and the aprons at the top. I wanted to test out a dado stack since this is the first table saw that I have that can actually have one. So I went ahead and did some rabbets. But if you don't know what rabbets are or you don't have that tool, then just do butt joints, making sure that everything's flat and square. I accidentally left a little tab at the end using the rabbets, but that's okay, I'm going to clean that up later. But if you don't have a dado, again, you could use the butt joints or miter edges. In order to make this process quicker, I decided to just clamp them, glue them, and then come back with the screw later to reinforce them. And that's pretty much it. The cabinet carcasses were done. And if you want a more in-depth guide on cabinets, I actually made a video on it. I'll link it here, and if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll answer them in the comments. In case you're wondering, this plywood is 3/4 radiated pine plywood, which is like one of the cheapest options that they have at Home Depot since it's a budget build. Then I cleaned up my carcass using my router, like I said earlier, and I added this 1¼ trim head screw. I want these to be flush as to not interfere with the installation into the workbench or work table, whatever you want to call it. That thing. Next, I simply screwed in my cabinet carcass to the bench. So real quick, let me just explain what racking weight is. Racking weight is essentially the side-to-side motion. Now, before we attach these cabinets or plywood, it doesn't have good racking weight capabilities. It tends to move individually as individual pieces. But once you add the cabinets or your plywood storage, then it will move as one unit. For some reason or another, I forgot to record the face frame, but it's just 3/4 by 3/4 pine, and then I just brad nailed it with glue. I will say I prefer side mount drawer slides, but since this is a budget build, I want to show you exactly how I do it with budget slides. So basically, I just get my scrap of plywood, I make a line, I bring it over to my crosscut sled, which if you don't have one, I made a video on that too. Feel free to check it out. I cut that down, I bring my plywood scrap to my drawer slide and drill it into my carcass. Then I'll make another line, I'll cut it again, and I'll repeat the same process. Since my cabinet boxes and my face frame are the same size, it's easy to just do both at a time for the top, both at a time for the middle, and both at a time for the bottom. Now, depending on the length of your drawer slides, it's going to depend on the length for your drawer boxes. So if you have 22-inch drawer slides, you're going to get 22-inch boxes. Now, depending on what slides you use, mine have a 1/2 inch clearance plus the thickness of the plywood I'm using for the sides of the box. Then I'll remove that with math and get my total width that I need to cut my drawer boxes. Then I will assemble my drawer boxes just using brad nails and glue. Even the bottom, brad nails and glue, and then later on I'll reinforce it with some screws. Plus the drawer slides themselves also have screws. The really nice thing about using butt joints for your drawer bottoms is that you get to make sure things are square. Also, the drawer slides are going to cover up that hideous plywood anyway. So it's easy peasy lemon squeezy this way. Now for your drawer faces, if you want any overhang, this is the time to add it. But since I don't, I'm just going to make them exact. Anywho, then I'll grab a drawer face, I'll make a line towards the middle for the length and for the width. I'll find where my holes need to go for my drawer pull, if you are using one. Then using that same drawer face where I made the reference, I'm going to line up all my other faces. So that way, if one of them is off, they're all off. It's more important to be uniform than to be exact. I really don't like the little screws for the drawer slides that it comes with, so I always add different screws, but just make sure that it doesn't hit your little wheels as they're going in and out. So if you need to do a couple test runs, then do that, or just use the little screws that it comes with. Then the next step is to attach your drawer face to your drawer. Using double sticky tape, I attach it to my face frame first. Then using the drawer pull holes, I'm going to put in some screws through there. Then I'll pull out the actual drawer and I'll add some little screws in there, because ultimately it's going to have multiple points of contact, so you really don't want to drive them in too deep. The other thing is my drawer faces are actually just 1/2 inch sandy ply, so I can't use really big screws anyhow. Then you remove those screws and pilot hole for your actual mounting hardware for your handles. Then to give my drawers a reveal, which is basically the little space between the faces, I'm going to use a tongue depressor. It's about a 1/16 of an inch or so, and it was free because I used to use it to mix my paints and stains and stuff. Then I just repeat the process for all other 5 drawers and I'm done. Now the last thing to do is to move this heavy workshop table to its permanent place, and the entire project is done. If you're a beginner and you want to try to make these, try them. I encourage it. They're super easy and they don't need to be pretty. But hopefully you liked all this content. If you did, let me know by giving me a like or subscribe, or just drop in and say hey.